evening, everybody, and welcome to the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. Show number 155, otherwise known as One Gary Reasons, One Brian Kelly here at Shea. Show number 155, and I'm coming to you live from downtown Mahwah, New Jersey. And of course, behind the glass, World Wrestling Federation's world media capital of the world, down in downtown Mahwah, New Jersey. Your friend and mine, Dave Sturcio, getting involved here. Dave, what's up?
Oh, it's a glorious day down here at Chop Studios. Have some big news to drop tomorrow, so I'm very excited about it. Simultaneously dropping as soon as the Jimmy Palumbo Show drops, so people will either be tuned into one or tuned into the other. But you can do it all. You can watch it both.
Yeah, you can do it all.
I'm very excited about some.
Of course,
cool
the fact you're doing my social media, the very little bit I'll get any kind of social, you'll be blasting out your world, and I'll be like, oh, and by the way, Jimmy Palumbo just slapped the paste into right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. That's good. Well, very good here. We got a very special show because one of Chop Sports' Facebook page's finest posters of all time in the Hall of Fame of Chop Sports Media posting on Facebook. And there was only one vote, and it was from himself. That's how he got in. We're going to have
there's a banner out in the hallway with his name on it. Yes. Yeah. So it's like, it's either the do not talk to list or the actual Hall of Fame. I haven't decided which way I'm going with this one.
We are going to have Pat Vollkommer on in a little bit to discuss the Oscars and films and stuff like that. But of course, you know what we do at the top of the show. It's baseball card time here, sponsored by Absolute Eyewear. Getting involved here from the Omni Absolute Eyewear, Janine and Craig Michaud, Woodbridge, New Jersey, down by the train station. Go check them out. That's how it works. Now, this guy, you're going to remember this guy. I think you will. Might be a little bit before your time. You were a little youngster. But this guy was like, if you Google solid Major League Baseball pitcher, I think he's the poster boy. From Jimmy Key.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jimmy Key. That was like the very start of my Yankee fandom.
Yes, he was on 96 and stuff. Well, listen, I got the 1989 card here. He was on the Blue Jays. He was a lefty. He was 186 and 117 with a 3.51 ERA, which means he's a $20 million a year pitcher. Pitched for 15 years, played for three teams, Toronto, the Yankees, and Baltimore. His best year was 87. He went 17 and 8 with a 2.76 ERA. With the Yankees now, he pitched from 93 to 96. He was 48 and 23 with a 3.68 ERA. One of the things Jimmy Key really killed is really why he's not in the Hall of Fame, if you ask me. He got hurt like 6 out of the 15 years in the league. He got hurt like 6 of the years. And the strike season was another one. We had 17 wins when the strike kicked in. But in postseason, he was 5-3 with a 3.15 ERA. He won 2 World Series, one with Toronto, one with the Yankees. So winning pitcher, both fan bases love him. Usually you always have one that can't stand the guy. He's like he made the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. The Toronto fans love him. The Yankee fans love him. He's like a nice guy. He's about 62 years old now. He's drafted in the 3rd round in 82. 5 All-Star games. The 92 Blue Jays, he was hurt during some of the year, and he came back. He was in the bullpen for a little bit. But game 4, he went 7 2/3, 1 run. And he also pitched some bullpen that he did really well in games 6 and 7. They won it in 7. So he was known as, I remember this, like, God, so funny. I always compare pitchers to wiffle ball. This guy was your classic. I think his fastball topped out at 81 miles an hour.
I remember having overpowering stuff.
And every now and then against, I could be wrong on this. My brother's going to hate me. I don't know this. I think somebody like Ken Griffey hit a ball. It's still going. It's still in the air. One of those Giancarlo blasts.
Oh, yeah.
But he, bottom line is he was just an unbelievably, 100 and, what do you have? What'd I say? How many wins did he have? 186 wins, 186 wins. Solid pitcher and a winner. Played on winners. The Yankees were good when he was on their team, and so were the Blue Jays. So I got to give him credit there. What I love about him is, and this is how he made big money for the time. I think he was a $5 million a year guy at one point. We're talking like 97, whatever. He just retired and he's playing golf, and he's very happy in the golf community with his daughter and a wife and 2 daughters. Like, in other words, it's like, I made money and now I golf. I'm not running no baseball camp where you go. But I did read something about his dad. his dad really told him that when they were pitching outside when he was young, that like every pitch is about location and control, not how hard. So he actually learned from his dad, like if he threw a ball really hard, but it was inside or outside or right over the middle, his dad would be like, no, stop it. Like he literally, his dad told him how to play it like darts. And supposedly the dad really encouraged him. Like in high school, I think he gave up like no runs and batted 450.
I'll never forget growing up. My dad would get so nuts with me because I would deliver for whatever reason like a 3/4.
Right.
Like,
and he wanted you to come back of the year.
That shit off. What's his sidearm bullshit? Blah, blah, blah. Like over the top. I'm like, all right. Like I was just trying to be fancy a little bit. I pitched as a kid, and I'm like, oh yeah, Dad, watch this. You know, no, that's how you ruin your arm.
That's so great. I know David Cohn always used to say, like David Cohn one time said, and I'm butchering the quote. He was like, I learned how to pitch from wiffle ball playing against my brothers. Like that's how he learned how to like pitch the ball. Which, of course, we're not even going to talk about the wiffle ball Hall of Fame, which I was an early nominee and on all
first
ballots. Oh yeah, I was a big wiffle. Because by the way, I weighed 7 pounds, so I couldn't lift any other bat but that. All right, so that's it. Did you get a guy this week, or did you?
I got a guy this week. Yeah, I got a guy. It was off the top of the deck, so it's unfortunately not a shitty player. In fact, it's one of the better defensive shortstops of all time, in my opinion.
Ozzie Smith?
It's in fact Ozzie Smith. Yeah, I mean, Ozzie Smith is right on the top of my deck. And obviously everybody knows, if you're a baseball fan, you know Ozzie Smith already. Again, I get the biggest kick out of the fun facts that these baseball cards provide on the back of them.
Mine didn't have anything worth noting. So
this is definitely not worth noting, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's hilarious. It says Ozzie has been recognized as one of the 10 best casually dressed men in America. He and his wife have a son, Osborne Earl Jr. That's it. But as long as he dresses well, that's really what matters when you're the Wizard. He was actually, I got to ask you a question, Jimmy, and you're a movie guy, and I know Pat Vollkommer is a movie buff as well. Have you ever seen The Scout with Brendan Fraser?
Nah, I don't think so.
It is a fantastic baseball movie. He is a pitcher. His name is Steve Nebraska. He's discovered in like Guatemala or Mexico or something like that, but he's an American. He's American. He's a phenom. He's just a pitcher. He could throw the ball like 106 miles an hour on the pike. So the weird part is he's on the Yankees. And I don't want to give away the movie in case you're actually going to go watch it one day, but they're playing the Cardinals in the World Series. And for whatever reason, he's pitching a perfect game. But in the 9th inning, Bob Costas is on the call. And he actually says like, oh, but up next is Ozzie Smith. But like, I'm thinking to myself like, well, Ozzie's already 0 for 2, so who gives a shit? Like nobody's thinking of that. You know what I mean? They're thinking like, oh, Ozzie could break up this no, but like, well, Ozzie didn't do it the first 2 times around.
You know, the funny thing about Ozzie Smith for me is that he played in an era where, like, I know a little bit about the rest of the league now because of ESPN and the World, right. But back then, I'm telling you right now, Yankee fans, back then, I could probably name 3 National League players. There was no interleague play. Right. And the only reason why we knew Ozzie Smith was from Twib Notes on This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen. He was making all those crazy plays. I don't even recall how good of a hitter Ozzie Smith was. What do you mean?
According to this thing, this is a 1987 card. And at the time, he was a career, where the hell's the average?
Was he
247 hitter?
Yeah, he was
not that great of a
and he was the first one that really.
He was a switch hitter. I didn't realize that either.
Really, well, that's a funny thing about Jimmy Key on the back of the card. I always laugh at throws left, bats right. You remember that?
Yeah, I got that too. It says bats both, throws right. So that's how my guy is.
All right, so Ozzie Smith and Jimmy Key. Well, that is our baseball card, sponsored by Absolute Eyewear here at Shea. Now, Patreon, big news in Patreon. No, we are still not mired. It's only been 1 week, so we can't say we're mired in a slump. We are still stuck at 41. However, we have rectified some of the issues on the technical end with credit card.
When did we get to 41? I thought you were at 40.
We're at 40.
Oh, you're waiting at the 41. Got it.
Yeah, we are
not
at 41.
I say we as if I get paid for this.
We are not at, we're at 40. But we have rectified one of the credit card technical issues. Those
Your
of you
mother?
storing at home. And Eileen Joan Palumbo, I visited her last night. I had to physically go on her iPad.
Ma, give me your phone, Ma. I gotta fix this.
And she upgraded the amount here at Shea. So
wow.
Big shout out to my mom, 84 years old. My dad's birthday was yesterday, and his twin brother. They're both gone. That used to be my brother said, used to be a fun day. Now it's kind of like, oh, shit. But missed my dad very much. So I had a little late lunch.
What was that picture that you showed? That you guys paint your name on the bench or something?
What
is that?
My dad used to fix all the benches at Springwood. Okay. Springwood, anybody's not scoring at home. Springwood was a swim club. My dad was in charge, or he was involved on the board. Best thing is he couldn't swim. I still think that's hysterical. That's like running an airline and you never fly or something. I don't know. But my dad decided that to be we're supposed to do it. He just built this massive table for himself and our family and some other families. So some people got pissed about. And then he decided to put the letters on it. Garrick, DiMaggio, Ruth. On the backside was like Williams, Bill Dickey. And like people would go by and laugh at that. And it stood there for years. And last I saw it, it's got to be gone now because Woodbridge bought Springwood.
It sounds just like something my dad would say. Like it's like your dad's out there and you're in the park and you're like, he's like, Dad, there's no tables. I'll make you a table.
That's exactly right. It was like a big one. He painted it red. It was great. That's awesome. I got a lot of responses from it. I remember that table. There was a couple of people said, "Oh, can I build my own table?" And my father was like, "No, you'll screw it up. Build it wrong." So, but he fixed must have been 100 tables there, and every year with the squirrels and the termites and the kids probably getting laid at Springwood. It's like anyway, that's another story for another time on a different show here at Shea. But I got to give a big shout out to my mom. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to what was I going to say? I need a 41, which now 41, it could be Ben-Hur. That's another reference there, number 41 in the movie. Also, number 41 was Bo Matthews on the Giants. They used to run sweeps to Bo Matthews. The play would start with like 12 minutes to go. And by the time he ran to the sideline, there was 6.5 minutes left, and it was 2nd and 9. He would run these Giants would run these sweeps that were like for Tony Dorsett to the fullback, Bo Matthews.
Trying to think, Cowboy 41. Terrence Newman?
No, Waters.
Vollkommer.
No, Waters.
Yeah.
Waters. The guy, the Super Bowl guy in the 70s. Steelers. Charlie Waters. Yeah, I think he was 41. And the only reason why I recognize him is because in just about every play against the Steelers, you see the Steeler guy in the end zone.
He was 42, Jimmy. He was 42, according to our guest who's listening, and I could see him kind of getting animated downstairs.
Maybe I was wrong. Anyway, so that's it. Now, of course, Cliff Johnson, one of my favorite. And if you really want to laugh your ass off, Google Cliff Johnson baseball card. If you don't think it's the single greatest post in American internet, you don't even talk to me. Every now and then I post it on Facebook. I just say, if you don't get this, you shouldn't be on the air talking about baseball. You shouldn't be on ESPN.
Who is this now?
Cliff Johnson. After the show, you Google it and you will howl. I'm telling you right now, Cliff Johnson baseball card. It's a video post. A guy wrote a song about Cliff Johnson's baseball cards.
Oh, okay.
It is the matter of fact. I'm gonna make you post it later on my internet. I dare you to find a funnier baseball music post than that. I dare you. You're gonna, even though you don't know anything about Cliff Johnson, you don't have to know. You just watch this. It's hysterical. Anyway, okay. Patreon, love you. Patreon, patreon.com. That's right. And all you got to do in there is search Jimmy Palumbo Show and $3 a month. Can't beat that. It's a bargain. All right. That's like 75 cents a show at Shea.
I'm just going to try something real quick as you're doing this. And yeah, there he is.
Yeah, okay. But they clip. Oh, that's great. You can do that. But you got that is what the whole, you're going to die. Yeah.
All right.
As a matter of fact, I may make you watch it after the show. It's really funny. It's really funny. All right. Well, listen, what else we got? Of course, I'm wearing the patches here at Shea. ChasingMiracles.com. That's right. Go talk to Tommy and Donna. Chasing Miracles stem cell patches create an immediate effect for your body to repair anything that's wrong with it. All the athletes are using these things. It helps with shit your body needs. This stuff works. My mom uses them. She's delaying her knee surgery. I use them all the time. I'm much limber on the pickleball court. More on that later. There's no needles. You can still pee in the cup. Fans at Shea love it. I sound like a Wrigley Spearmint Gum commercial. Remember that? Oh, yes, the fans down at Shea chew it. You know, remember that commercial?
No.
2 people just drove off the road. That might be the all-time drive off the road Jimmy Palumbo moment. A Wrigley
Sorry to
Spearmint
Steve Venditti, who just drove off the road.
Venditti just drove. Anyway, chasingmiracles.com. Check this stuff out. It works. Totally does. All right. Well, a couple of things we got to get to quickly. Before we have our buddy Pat Vollkommer come on.
Your buddy.
Yeah, your buddy. You love him anyway. We'll make him think like we don't love him. He'll panic. I love my boy Pat. Rick Antonori, the guy used to do what was the name of the show? What happened to this guy? You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He's a baseball coach, a D3 baseball coach in Ohio, but his daughter Emily getting involved in bowling, winning the state championship of Ohio and getting a D1 scholarship to Merrimack.
Very cool.
Which I don't care what sport you play, tiddlywinks, wiffle ball, D1 is D1. It's not D3. You're not at Ramapo. You're playing D1. That's awesome. So I think that's very cool. I told him I'd give him a shout out. He actually coached the team that night. I don't know. I don't know if he's the head coach. I don't know what the hell went on. Bottom line is him and the family are celebrating. Good for them. Other huge news. I know you got your big news, but mine is just so much bigger, bro. Yeah. Your attention, please. On May 11th, running the Ramsey 5K.
Oh, God.
Your friend and mine.
No.
Jimmy Palumbo.
Good Lord.
May 11th is D-Day. The Thriller in Ramseyilla is going on here at
also
Shea.
The end of the Jimmy Palumbo show because he's not surviving this one.
Final thing. I will run that thing under 31 minutes. I'm ready. My weight, now those of you scoring at home, I ballooned up. I looked like Bone Crusher Smith a couple months ago. I am now down to 201. I lost 10 pounds here at Shea. Wow. I'm on a diet that I lost weight with a couple years back. And should have lost a little more, but holidays got in the way and some other.
Do we have to do a bunch of beer league reshoots now because you lost some weight?
I'm gonna look like a young Mustafa Ham show. I am ready to go. I'm gonna run this thing, prove to the world it's gonna be. Do you believe in miracles? This is gonna be covered live on all the major networks. Joe Rogan will be there. I'll probably still be at 40 Patreon members, but I am running the May 11th Ramsey 5K, and look out. I am going to beat that record. I'm telling you. All right. The Knicks, real quick on the Knicks. I got a text from our buddy Pat that you would have thought that Brunson's leg flew off and went into the third row. And I thought it's all over.
Listen, it didn't look good. It did not look good.
I know, but you got to wait. It looks like
he's fine.
He might play tonight. So
he might.
That's huge. But of course, me and Dave have to play alongside of him. I'm looking forward to getting some jump shots off because the entire team is on the bench, and I'm getting annoyed because it's like, oh, where do they come back? It's like it's already March. What a mess. The Knicks, being a Knicks fan sucks. It's worse than being a Rutgers fan. We get all these players, we make all these trades, and none of them are in the game. And we got all these Villanova guys running around. They look like they sell carpet on Route 17, and they play good one game, and then the other coach figures it out. And the next week, then they suck. The Knicks got to get their team back.
This is a very big win the other night, though. Yeah, very big win. When you're that short and you don't even have Brunson, you had nobody. DiVincenzo went off. Is there
anything really? Okay, how do I word this? An NBA regular season big win. That is the most meaningful.
It is when it's the team in front of you. Like they're the 4 seed right now. They beat the 2. And it did it in convincing fashion where they're dribbling the ball out with like 18 seconds left and they gave up. I'm just saying, like, it just goes to show you
a nice gritty win. Deeper. I get it.
Bogdanovich is out there doing good shit,
he's bald. I can't. I don't know. I want.
Bald. Listen to you.
I want the Knicks lineup that they set up a month ago on the court. Then I'll decide. Otherwise,
no shit. We all do, but I just, it's not time right now. That's all. You got to find out what we got.
then they shouldn't play Brunson tonight. Then why play him?
And they might not, considering the fact that, like,
you know what
he's
is?
still
I
banged
get
up.
it. I'm wrong. Everything you're saying is right. I'm just, again,
Jimmy on the couch.
Pull up Jimmy on the couch. This is me sitting with a mic going like, you know what? I'm gonna watch a show on Netflix and noise the shit out of me. Rutgers got smoked. They're probably out of the NIT.
Their bubble dreams are over.
But I did do something funny. I'm going to give Dave a homework assignment, as I often do on this show. I have many homework assignments for you. Go look up Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, who are coming in next year. You got to look up some of their highlights. Like, dude,
I'm excited.
Dude, they're the real deal.
The 2 and the 3 in the world?
It might be 1 and 2.
Wow.
Which you got to watch.
Committed to Rutgers.
It's unbelievable.
You can go play at Duke.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting. You know what's going to happen? Like, I'm convinced that the NCAA season is going to get canceled next year. There's going to be some kind of NIL lawsuit. No, like the minute they step on the court, NCAA is going to say, "Nah, we're going to get rid of this season." These guys, though, they're big and they're strong and they shoot. Especially Ace Bailey. Just when you get a second, take you 5 seconds. You'll be like, "Ooh, this guy's a monster." So that should be fun. Real quick on the Yankees, Stanton is batting 143, but he's not striking out, so he's making contact. So I think that'll be okay.
Oh, look at you! Look at you! With
I got to cling to something. I got to cling something.
Holy shit!
Spencer Jones is
he's on the field. Let's just call that a win. He's on the field right
for now. He'll tweak something. Spencer Jones, that kid is batting 460. And other big news, and then we got to get to our thing. I got to watch with the director Beer League Pilot last night. It was exciting. I think it came out really well. There's some funny parts in that. What we did, anybody scoring at home, we took a little bit from the first episode and we shot 3 more, combined it all for about 20 minutes worth of viewing. We still got a few tweaks to go, but it's pretty much in the can. And we're going to start shopping it around now. We're either going to get, Dave did a really nice job on it. I don't really want to give any plot points away. There'll be a time for that once it's available, but it's not going to be available just yet because we're going to try to old school shop it around the old fashioned way. And then if we strike out there, it'll be available on Chop Sports Media and other various outlets here at Shane. But it was exciting to finally see it. Dave, did you enjoy seeing your fat self on there?
I was worried that the camera was going to add some weight, but I think I did all right. I think I didn't hate myself as much as I thought I was going to hate myself as far as like looking wise. Some of the scenes were just awesome. I think it's just honestly like, I'm excited to see myself in action, but just to see it all put together and know that I was there for the whole thing to shoot, and then the magic of just kind of making it all come together. It's such a good flow. Like everything was really cool, man.
It's fun when first time you really see yourself doing something on camera. It's great. I knew that's why I was like, I'm just going to send you the link, let you enjoy it.
You know, I talked to Tom. Tom informed me that he was going to screen it with you. And I was like, listen, man, kids are at their mother-in-law's, wife's out of the house. Like, I'm willing to travel to watch.
I know. I heard that. I appreciate that.
And I was like, I would love to screen it with you guys. And then I didn't hear it back. And then this morning,
you know what? We wouldn't have been able
to.
We wouldn't have been able to do it. We were going to do it at a studio, but we were at the bar. We had to plug in the 2 mics.
I own a studio.
But I didn't. You know what? I was trying to. I didn't feel like it was late at night. It was late. So
I'm just saying. Yeah, no, I was on my third dream by 11 o'clock. It's fine,
might have maybe we'll have a screening down at the studio one day.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, more on that Beer League. But of course, it's time for cornholelevel.com. Now listen. For $19.95, you get 20% off if you go to JP Show in the code and get your cornhole level. Now, Dave, now that he watched his first movie experience, his cornhole is way off. That's what we got this. You just hook it right on Dave's cornhole right here like that. Perfect. All fans 18 and over. These things are awesome. I got a Rutgers one here. They got more teams going on. I'm sure when they get the Cowboy one, they'll sell out. And
Vollkommer just caught that. You were looking off to the side. I threw up Cliff Johnson again just for shit. While you were talking about cornhole level.
That's it. Everybody, I'm sure. Listen, I know for a fact Pat's cornhole level. Cornhole is off. Mine's been pretty good because I'm losing weight.
Have you seen Pat's cornhole during Cowboys season?
You know, listen, the Cowboys.
It's worse than me.
the sales, we were doing brisk sales in Dallas area. Then after that playoff game, the cornholes, they flew out. Everybody's cornhole was screwed up. But I'm a Rutgers fan, and you can't fix our cornholes ever. Anyway, so go to cornholelevel.com. These things work. They're $19.95. It's a perfect gift. It's a lot of fun. Summer barbecues, bring it. And shout out to Mike Caprio, who I think is going to re-up. I just sent him an invoice. We'll see what happens. This could be the final cornholelevel.com.
And that usually sponsors Jimmy's credits, but in lieu of Jimmy's credits, we're going to do a whole bunch more credits when we're talking about the godforsaken Oscars and shit. And
but of course, now listen, I know this is my, listen, you're in showbiz now, bro. You did you're in now.
I tell you what, I mean, maybe he saw it already. It seems like Pat watches everything, right? So like I watched something over the weekend where I thought to myself, I need to be even higher to watch this the next time around, or maybe not high at all, because it's like, dude, The Spaceman, or it's with the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix.
I didn't see it, dude.
Simply the weird. It is.
You haven't watched some of the Academy Award nominees.
Dude, no. What's the movie with Winston? Not Winston. Listen to me, Wilson. Castaway, right? So Castaway. It is Castaway in space.
Okay.
So now he's abandoned. He's by himself. He's doing his mission or whatever, and all of a sudden, some fucking spider, a massive spider, it gets on board the aircraft and starts talking to Adam Sandler. It's not a comedy. It's not a comedy. He's losing his mind because he's out there by himself. So he's starting to talk to this spider. The spider's talking to him. Dude, when I tell you, I looked at my wife, I looked up, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And I was like way knee deep into it. I was like 45 minutes in. I'm like, I'm lost. And this is the worst piece of shit I ever watched in my life. And it's Adam Sandler.
Okay.
I love Sandler.
Well, listen, all I got to say is all you got to do is with your wife when the kids are asleep, just put on Poor Things. And the first 20 minutes, if you don't look at your wife, you're gonna
Poor Things.
It's nominated. It's on.
That's why I don't understand. I mean, you guys can shed some more light on this shit, but like, I don't understand.
Bottom line is, when you watch Poor Things, you're gonna be like, I wish I could just watch those good old fashioned Adam Sandler movies like Spaceman. Anyway, let's bring him on. You're a friend of mine. Pat Vollkommer getting involved. Wearing a shitty cowboy hat. Oh my god,
that's not
that
nice.
I'm okay with.
That's not nice.
Okay.
Wait, the first thing I have to say is I love, Jimmy, when you compare yourself like the fat fuck to Bone Crusher Smith. Bone Crusher Smith was ripped, dude. And I think he's one of the only
No. Not at the
only ones. No, he's one of the only ones that took Tyson like 8 or 10 rounds, right? He was one of the only good fights.
Okay, see, this is why I'm smarter than you. Did you ever see some of his last fights?
Oh, yeah.
On aging Bone Crusher Smith.
Yeah.
He looked like Damon Wayans in The Great White Hype. I'm in shape. I'm round.
Anytime I say Mustafa Ham show, I know you're laughing out loud.
Oh, it's incredible. The references are classic. I love it. I feel like I'm walking into a lion's den, too.
No.
Between Patreon and all my comments on the Chop Sports.
Right.
Which
Revolutionary. Listen, you're some of your posts, Pat. I mean, I gotta give you credit, man. I mean, it's some of the most viral things that we've ever seen on our platform. It's like, and like it gets the crazier posts that you've posted have gotten shared to other groups. Like, check this guy out. He's a lunatic.
I would never survive on social media, right? Because listen, I started one of the ones you pointed out, Dave. I got a couple of 100,000 views. I started reading the comments. I almost wet my pants. I was laughing. People wanted me dead. They were like, I hope this
it's a rabbit hole.
Fight. It was unbelievable. I was like, I would never be able to do this.
My favorite thing about your posts are you post, and then instead of waiting for me and Dave to say, I don't think so, agreed, you comment on your own post, and then you comment on your repost, you comment on your reply. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, wow, look at this. There's 27 comments, and then it's Pat Vollkommer. I'm like, there's Sturt Shoring,
dude. And you don't understand. Like, I've done my recon, and Brett and Keith Ernst can both vouch and say that they call him the maniac, and like he's on that level of just in the most lovable way possible.
I changed my mind.
You know what's sad? You know what's sad for me? A lot of comments about the current NFL. I don't even know the players you're talking about. So I'm like,
Neither is
everybody-
Pat. What the fuck?
everybody's ripping you apart. I'm like, who is this wide receiver on the Bengals? I don't even care about.
No, my favorite one was I really worked on this post too. I tried to pick the upset of the week, and I was like Russell Wilson. I was like, Russell Wilson gonna take the Dolphins down. And I remember I was with my wife. We went out to like lunch or something, and I was looking at the scores, right? And
It's like 70 fucking 10 to
yeah,
10.
they scored 72 fucking points against the Broncos. And Dave's like, "You've done it again, Vollkommer. 900 million people hate you. You are the stupidest fucking guy." I think I called Ernst the next day. I was laughing. I mean, it couldn't have worked out any worse for me. It was
literally the that was
right,
one of the poorest takes of all time.
Well, of course, those of you scoring at home here at Shea from the Omni, we, of course, Pat is known for his movie buffness. As a matter of fact, Pat, I can't tell you again, as awful as your sports posts are, your reviews of movies are like as if you went to Harvard for 11 years, and they are awesome. I don't know why, because what you don't understand is when you go to IMDb now and you go to the review part, in the old days, it used to be like LA Times, New York Times, Chicago Times. Those newspapers are all syndicated. Like one guy does reviews for all five. It's literally like places like Pat Vollkommer Review. And they're all in there. They get listed in there. And your reviews are just as good as any of them. I've gone and read them. You're making a big mistake, especially now you have a little time on your hands. You should either start a Facebook page and instead of posting them as you, come up with a creative name, Pat Sucks or something like that. And post your movie reviews are not just like me and Dave, this movie sucked. That's our review. Your reviews are in depth. They're very, very interesting. I don't always agree with them, and I think you get a little Hollywood bourgeois. But they're well written. Matter of fact, you got to have like a thesaurus out to read them, and they're very, very good. You should do that. Also, when I was living in LA, Pat had the ability to really do well picking the Oscar pools and stuff. And he won it a couple years in a row when I was down there. Of course, the industry has changed with streaming, and even Pat will admit it's a different world now than it was back then. It was like a little not easier to predict, but a little bit more linear to predict based upon other festivals. If you win the Golden Globes, the BAFTA, so on. Now it's with Paramount Plus and all this crap. It's all over the place. Which brings us to best costume design. Now. We're going to go through, we're going to make picks, and somehow I got to write these down, what you say. We're going to do the picks, and then we're going to discuss at the end. We're going to do this quick. Then we're going to discuss some movies overall. But no, we'll start off with best visual effects. I am going with.
Can you at least read the nominees so I know what the?
Okay, the nominees are The Creator, Godzilla, Guardians of the Galaxy, Mission Impossible, and Napoleon. I am going with Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Godzilla. I haven't seen this. Is that
Godzilla 1 or whatever? The 01 or whatever?
I haven't seen it, and I heard it's supposed to be phenomenal. I heard it's supposed to be really good. But here's the only thing. I mean, I'm gonna take that because it's like the odds makers thinks it's gonna win. But my only worry is a lot of people may have not seen it. I think you had to go to the theater to see this.
Okay.
So Mission Impossible might have a good chance. But I heard this Godzilla movie is supposed to be incredible, so I'm going to take that for.
Okay,
now I'm going with Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy is the way to go.
All right, there you go.
Best ride in Disney World. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Best sound. I'm going to go with Maestro. The nominees are Creator. I'm not going to read off all the nominees. It'll take too long. Best sound. I'm going to go with Maestro. If Oppenheimer wins this award, I know the whole thing is a scam. One of the worst sound mixing and editing of a movie I have ever seen. I'll tell you why. While the people are having major dialogue about the atomic bomb in our country, the sound music, the guy who did the sound score for that movie's brother-in-law was in the editing room. He's like, I'm going to crank it up so everyone hears my brother's music. The guys are talking, and this is what you hear. I think we should. Should we drop a bomb on Japan? Like, well, what major stuff? And the sound's too loud. So I'm going to go with Maestro because it's about music, and the music of the movie is done by Leonard Bernstein. So I think it should win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is an interesting one for me. Oppenheimer is going to win. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. But if you have specific audio equipment at your house, you can isolate certain stuff. But I understand what you're saying. But I'm going to tell you something.
So you're going to go with Oppenheimer. All right.
Yeah, the Zone of Interest, though, that's the best film I've seen this year. It's basically about the commandant of Auschwitz, and you never see the horrors. It's him and his family living next to Auschwitz, but the sound in this movie is so remarkable. You hear, just in the distance, you hear the torture and the pain, and it's very haunting, very compelling movie. But I'm telling you, I wish it would win Best Sound. And if there's going to be an upset, I think Zone of Interest will be the upset there in Best Sound.
Now, we'll be quick about these because these are the ones that people living in Middle America don't care about. Best Short Live Action. I'm going with the wonderful story of Henry Sugar.
Yeah, I think that's going to win because Wes Anderson directed that. And Wes Anderson, he did Grand Budapest Hotel.
Wasn't that the guy didn't he kick for the Saints? Anyway,
yeah, no, but he's been nominated. He's been nominated for the big Oscars many times.
Okay,
but this is a way for him to kind of sneak one in here.
Best Short Animated. First of all, the war is over. It's the Beatles, John and Yoko. I just assumed anytime you get a Beatle in there, those he wins. What do you like?
I do Letter to a Pig. Anytime there's an animal,
okay,
I feel like they go after the young. And
okay,
I haven't seen these, but a friend of mine saw all of the animated shorts, and he said they're all sad.
We're moving on. We're moving on because I want to get done with this. Best production design. No, not your spot. Just
no, I'm kidding. No, yeah.
Best production design. I went with Barbie. I thought it was unique.
This is one.
There was a lot of things going on in Barbie, man. That were colors and.
It's incredible, but you did see Poor Things. I made you watch that. The production design and Poor Things is amazing. But I'm going to agree with you here. I think they really want to give Barbie some trophies at this thing. You're going
to go with Barbie?
And I think Barbie has the slight edge over Poor Things.
All right. Best original song. I'm going to go with the Barbie one. What was I made for?
I'm going to do the same thing. Because I could give a flying fuck about the best original song every year. I really don't care. But it is funny to watch. Ryan Gosling is supposedly going to perform his song, which is very funny part of the Barbie movie. Okay. He's going to perform it at the Oscars, so that should be entertaining.
All right. Best original score. I'm going to go with, only because and this is not based on my personal thoughts, I'm going to go with Oppenheimer because I think Oppenheimer is going to win a ton of awards, and I'm going to give it there. What do you going to go with?
I'm going to do the same exact thing. They're going to have a big night. So
now,
and score is something big.
Best makeup and hairstyling. Poor Things. I think it's going to win. I don't know why is Oppenheimer going to win. Everybody, there's no makeup, but they got on.
I will say this: when I actually fill out my ballot for the party that I do, I'm really on this is one of the toughest ones. But I think Maestro.
Because of his nose?
Because how they made him look older and everything. The makeup in that was absolutely phenomenal. Okay. So I'm going to think Maestro's not going to win anything. If they give it something, it's probably going to be this best makeup.
Okay. Best international feature. I know you're a big fan of Zone of Interest. I'm going to select the same thing. I actually read about it in the Hollywood Reporter as well, so I'm going to go with that same thing. All phenomenal. Right. This is Dave's favorite category. Best film editing.
Beer League.
Beer League, the pilot. I'm going to go with Poor Things. It was an interesting visual movie. So nice, Dave. What are you going to go with, Pat? Oppenheimer.
I'm going to go Oppenheimer because very often film editing, very early in the 70s and 80s and 60s and stuff, film editing always followed Best Picture because when you have the grand, larger picture. So I'm going to go with Oppenheimer here. Once again, right. I think it's going to have a big night. I think Oppenheimer's going to win a lot.
Best documentary short, I'm going with The Last Repair Shop.
I'm hearing that's supposed to be very good.
I read it on Deadline and movies, so I figured I'm going to go with it.
I'm going to go with the ABCs of book banning because that's something very present day people want to talk about. And supposedly it's the point. Short is it's the point of view of kids looking at the books that are being banned, not the adults. So it's supposed to be very good.
The next category, Best documentary feature. I didn't see any of these, and I went with whenever I can't pronounce something, then I think it's going to win. 20 Days in Mariupol.
Yeah, it's a modern. I'm going with that as well because it has to do with the Ukrainian war. A lot of times, stuff that's very present day and powerful, they go with a lot.
Okay. Best costume design. I went with Barbie again. There was all kinds of costumes all over the place. Matter of fact, there were so many costumes that you didn't know Dua Lipa was actually in the movie. She had so many costumes on. And by the way, she should be, when she starts shooting threes, look out. So I'm going to go with Barbie.
I'm going to do Barbie as well. Those rollerblades, that scene when they, I mean, the outfits in that movie were freaking.
I guess I got to watch this freaking thing, huh? Everybody keeps talking about it, and we gave my daughter about 10 minutes worth, and we're like, nope.
No.
I wasn't there for it, but
it's not a kid's movie.
Yeah, and it's also you don't have an older sister. Like if you watch it with your wife, Dave, she might the first half hour of it. It's like it's really a nostalgic trip. It's pretty cool. If your wife owned Barbies, she's gonna enjoy the first half hour. After that, God bless America.
I'm just in it for Margot Robbie. So
yeah. Well, first of all, yeah. How dare? How? What did you just say?
What'd you say?
Good. She looks pretty good. Yeah,
pretty good.
Remember that guy in the Bulls, Jordan? Jordan was a nice player.
Fine little player.
Okay. Margot Robbie, 35 points a game, 20 rebounds, 15 assists for 6 years. That's
First ballot all time.
First ballot. Matter of fact, she goes in right away.
They outside of Chop Studios.
Yeah, they do not wait the 5 years with Margot Robbie. Best cinematography. Now, I'm going to go with, again, Poor Things, and we're going to get more on Poor Things later. I'm going to go with Poor Things. I'm sure you're going with Oppenheimer.
I am, because I once again think this is just going to be a steamroller kind of night. It's going to win a lot. Okay,
now best animated feature. I didn't see any of these except I figured Marvel, Spider-Man, these tent poles, they run the show, so I went with them.
Even though I'm going to go with that as well, but Boy and the Heron is Miyazaki, the famous Japanese filmmaker. Right. This is his first film in a long time, and people just love him. Okay, so that's the upset. No, I'm going to stick with Spider-Man, but Boy and the Heron I could see winning. Okay, now let's get to the real ones now. Best supporting actress. I'm going to go with the chick from The Holdovers, one of my favorite movies of the year. Wait, Jimmy, you haven't done the writing ones yet. I didn't get there. Do you want to do the writing before the acting? I'm going in my own order. It don't matter. Oh, got it. All right,
best supporting. Hey, Vollkommer, I don't know if you knew this, but it's the Jimmy Palumbo Show.
Okay, so. And also, okay.
I knew that was coming.
Okay.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, this is when I uppercut and you both go flying out of the ring. How many texts? Okay. Hey, Dave, let me read some of the text. Hey, Pat, please let me know what sheet you ordered over the internet so we can read it in the same order. Pat's response, doesn't matter, Jimmy. Just get any sheet you want. Okay, so the sheet I have is the Jimmy Palumbo Show. So down goes Frazier. Duran won the first Leonard fight. That's it. Okay, now, best supporting actress. I'm going to go with the girl from The Holdover. She was great. Yeah, that's a lock. I think she's a steamroll for that. That's easy. All right, best actress. Now, I struggled with this one.
Margot Robbie, Barbie.
Supporting actress.
She's not nominated.
No. She didn't get nominated. Shameful. Anyway, I agree. Best actress. I was stuck between Emma Stone in Poor Things and Lily Gladstone, Killer of the Flower Moon. And then I just started reading up and looking at. I was not a big fan of Killers of the Flower Moon. We're going to get to that in a second. I decided to go with Lily Gladstone, though.
Yeah, I think here's one of the interesting things. She just won the SAG award, and that's all the actors voting. They are the largest branch of the Academy.
Correct.
So a lot of times the SAG, but I don't see a lot of love for that movie. I'm actually going to go with Emma Stone here because she's won every other precursor award. Lily Gladstone has the momentum, but I think I'm going to go Emma Stone.
You're going to go with Emma Stone. All right.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor. I'm going to go with I decided that I had to go with Robert Downey Jr. because I just think it's Oppenheimer's year. So,
and it's a career award for him. He's won every single precursor award.
Now, best actor. This one was tough for me, and I'll tell you why. Bradley Cooper was really good at Maestro, but the movie missed. I didn't see Rustin. I'll give you that. I thought Paul Giamatti was just so wonderful in The Holdovers. However,
Yeah.
same guy as in Sideways and some of the other movies he's been in. But I'm a huge fan of Peaky Blinders. I love Cillian Murphy. He was so I'm going to go with Cillian Murphy probably there.
It's Killian, but
Cillian, whatever his name is. What did I say, Cillian?
But once again, he's in almost every frame of the movie. So a lot of times they'll definitely give the award to a guy that does something like that.
So we're moving on from there. Pat, same way. Best original screenplay. I really wanted again chose Holdovers because it's a regular movie for regular people. It's like not Whole Foods. You know what I mean? You go in there, you get a piece of bread, you walk out, and make a sandwich. I'm going to go with Anatomy of a Fall.
That's I believe that will win as well because once again, it's another great movie. This is where they could reward it.
Okay. Best adapted screenplay. Now, I am going to go with Poor Things because even though we're going to discuss Poor Things in a second, I think it came from a book and the movie is interesting in a bunch of ways. And so that's what I'm going to go with.
I'm going to do American Fiction. Once again, it was kind of a beloved film.
Yep.
They nominated a bunch of different categories. If they're going to give American Fiction a win, this will be it.
Best director, I think they're going to give it to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, but boy, I can't wait till we talk about this. And you're going to go. I'm doing that only because I'm a gambler. So I'm doing it like that. Now, best picture. This is the first year in a long time I've seen a bunch of these movies. I won't tell you the ones I didn't see. Maybe I slipped it out while we were going through it. I'm going to go with Oppenheimer. I think it's an Oppenheimer year. But what I'd like to do, Pat, you're going to go with Oppenheimer as well? I'm sure you are.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan as well. I think they're just locks.
Okay, now let's go down the best picture because that's really the main thing. Okay, I you know what? I'll tell you which ones I didn't see. I did not see American Fiction or Anatomy of a Fall. Okay, I saw Barbie, and to me, Barbie was a lot of fun. Got all that woke, Me Too, women's power thing at the end. I was with my daughter and 2 friends. They were glued to the screen the first half hour, like, oh my God. And then that'll do it here. Rutgers took the opening drive, 45 yards for a 3-yard field goal. But since then, it has been all Virginia Tech. After that, the movie just went south for me. But it was well done. Margot Robbie was very good in it, even though she's hot. We're kidding around there. Well, no, we're serious about that. But she's also very good in the movie. And I thought that, what are your thoughts on Barbie? Not to win it, just your overall movie.
I agree with you. I mean, the thing is, the first time, I'm the type that will watch movies multiple times. Jimmy thinks that you shouldn't have to do that. I disagree. The second time I watch it, they do get on the soapbox a little bit. I wouldn't call it being aggravated by women's empowerment or Me Too. I know you don't mean it that way either, Jimmy. It did definitely kind of almost get in the way of the magic of the film. It got very political. But
you just worded what I meant.
Yeah, that was the director's decision, though. And I kind of respect her for that. Like if it's her piece of art, that's what she wants to do.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, the movie, listen, the movie did $1 billion at the box office and really saved Hollywood for a while. Holdovers. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this movie. And Dave, it's definitely a movie you can watch. Paul Giamatti is great. It's a small movie. There's a lot of scenes that are like, there's a lot of there's a lot of scenes where you really feel like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy. And and the woman, I don't even Divine Joy Randolph, her pain in the movie, but at the end, I'm not going to give away the ending or anything, but there's like a happiness at the end, but not really. It's listen, Paul Giamatti is he's just
amazing.
He's
great.
Awesome.
He's fucking
great. Dave, I really think you'll like, and it's also not 9 hours long, so you'll be able to get to bed.
Yeah.
So
another interesting thing about that movie, it'll probably take a couple of years to catch on. It's going to become a really good holiday film. It's actually a good Christmas movie.
I agree. So we both agree on that one. Now, Killers of the Flower Moon. Boy,
isn't this Leo? Isn't Leo in this? No.
Yeah, and so is De Niro. Listen, I always say, people. I read a quote. I think it was by Tina Fey. You got to be watching if you're podcasting what you say about movies because someday you could be auditioning. I just thought I think Scorsese. I know. Does he still use the same editor, that woman, for like 90 years? Yeah. Well,
Schumacher.
all right. Well, someone either she doesn't have a watch or she doesn't know. No, there's no clock in the room. These movies are long, and I think there's a lot. I think that movie could have been 2 hours and 10 minutes, easy. The subject matter. I'm going to be big on this theme, and Pat's going to disagree with me. The subject matter of this movie is awesome. I just think it was mishandled. I don't see how I think parts of the country are just not good. They're going to tune up. They're going to watch it for a half hour and they're going to jump off. And if you have to watch a movie twice to figure it out, then the director failed. I think this is one of them. It's too long. Same thing with The Irishman. I think this maybe was another. We've been Netflixed. Maybe I have too. That instead of doing a 3.5 hour movie, you do a 6 hour, 1 hour a week a show, and that's really a 6 hour movie. I just think this movie missed for me.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, but here's the thing. I read the book. The book is fantastic. I read it. He did mishandle some of the information. There were some things in the book I wish he would have flushed out a little bit more.
Right.
It is a little long, but it wasn't Irishman long. The Irishman dragged for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene when they're in the car talking about the fish for 10 minutes, I was like, that dragged. But the Killers of the Flower Moon, I thought moved a little better. Once again, I did know a little bit more about the subject matter, so I think I was very interested. Yeah, I was really interested to see what they were going to show. But you're right, it is very long. It's very long.
Now, Maestro is interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. I have a weird connection to this movie. My dad was a huge On the Waterfront fan. I must have watched On the Waterfront 50 times. And the guy who did the music was Leonard Bernstein, or Leonard Bernstein as we grew up to know it. I guess it's Bernstein. And this guy, he's just his contribution to the musical world is, I mean, the music of West Side Story and Candide, and he was in charge of the New York Philharmonic, I believe the Philadelphia Philharmonic. I mean, this guy, and he was young. Yeah. He was a young phenom. He literally got the call one day at 9 a.m. and had to conduct the Philharmonic at 8 a.m. You imagine getting that call like, "Hey, Dave, you got to go to the stadium. You're managing the Yankees tonight." And he was. And so here's where I think this movie, talk about Scott Norwood. The movie should have been more about
the
Leonard.
Bills?
It should have been, yeah. The movie should have been about Leonard Bernstein and his unbelievable contribution to music. Okay. And not even music that I'm overall a fan of in terms of classical music and Philharmonic stuff. But you know what this movie was about? This movie could have been called Joe. Story about a guy who's gay. He meets a girl, falls in love with, he gets married, and he's still gay, and he wants to be gay. And even though he cheats on her, he still loves his wife, and they get divorced, and it's all about him being gay or not, and not about his life work. You have to, it's like doing a show about Michael Jordan and never showing a basketball highlight. Oh, did you? He won 6 times. I think the movie missed, in my opinion, on that. The subplot of his personal life, I think I get it. It was, in other words, to me, it's two different movies in terms of what they could have gone for. Bradley Cooper was awesome, and he could steal. He could steal and hit a quick three to win it. But I just think the movie just missed for me a little bit.
Yeah, no, I disagree 100,000%. I thought that the film's called Maestro. It picked him up at a period of time. A lot of people gave him. They downplayed the film a little bit more because they were like, we didn't really learn anything about him. And I disagree. Like, we picked up Bernstein's life right at the point when he had to sit and be a replacement at the Philadelphia Orchestra.
Right.
He was known as the greatest American composer, whereas Austrian or French or Dutch composers rattled off people's tongues. And his great gifts were he had a very confusing private life, and he had to battle with that. He had people around him that wanted to be near the gift of his music, which Bradley Cooper did a phenomenal job, I thought, of having all of his music be such a big part of the movie, especially when he conducts Gustav Mahler's Second Symphony at the end. That scene with Bradley Cooper doing that conducting, he worked on that for like a year. So I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So
but I agree with you on that. But what you just said wasn't the music was there, but no explanation of really what was going on. So
What do you
in other
mean by
words,
that?
it would be like just showing Michael Jordan in the air. Dun, 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 dun. You don't know they're playing the Knicks. Is it the NBA Finals? Is it just a spring game? I think anyway. We'll move on. Now,
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. Here we go. If I thought when I say a movie missed, I thought this was one of the top 5 biggest misses of all time for about 5 reasons. First of all, no reason to be in an IMAX theater. This movie was a courtroom drama. It's like watching Law and Order. No reason at all to pay $30, whatever you pay for those IMAX. It had nothing to do. A couple explosions, obviously atomic bomb material. But here's why I think, oh my God, that this was a blocked field goal for me. And I'll tell you why. I can't think of a movie where the subject matter is as important as this movie. This is about the creation of the atomic bomb and nuclear warheads in our world. And it stopped the war. It also created the Cold War. It created the problems we have now. It created problems in the Middle East. This subject matter is unbelievably important, where it should be showed in schools, okay? About this guy Oppenheimer. You throw a little what's his name, Albert Einstein. I mean, this was like the greatest scientist in the world were getting together to develop this thing before the Russians and Germans and so on and so forth. Oh, but this guy gets a hold of this. You know what? If Ron Howard directed this movie, would have been the greatest movie of all time. If you watch Apollo 13, another important movie about space travel and NASA, you're riveting. You're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Oppenheimer, with its horrific storytelling techniques, my opinion, I'd love to be in a Christopher Nolan movie. I need the money. I just didn't like his choices of black and white, 1942, 1954, back and forth. It was. I followed it. It was confusing, and I just think the movie deserved better handling for the American public to understand just how huge this guy Oppenheimer and the atomic bomb was in our age.
Yeah. This is one of those movies where, once again, you don't agree with me on this, but I watched it again yesterday.
I wouldn't watch that.
When I went to the theater, I was expecting, because I'm in the post-production industry, 70 millimeter. I was expecting this, big glorious explosions or whatever. And like Jimmy, you said earlier, it wound up being a courtroom drama. However, when I watched it the second time, which was last night, I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, it's getting lauded by some. So I was like, did I miss something? And what's interesting is the second time I did watch it, what I discovered a little bit more on the second viewing was about the paranoia of how scary it was and how to keep things secret. Right. While Oppenheimer is trying to develop this bomb.
Tremendous story.
So the second time I watched it, I did focus a little bit more on that. Once again, like when I saw it the first time, I think I had too much expectations for something.
Perhaps.
And then when I watched it the second time, I really started to see a better, more enjoyable film to me, because the crux of it was how paranoid they all were.
I think the subject
clearance. And,
I think the subject matter. Well, first of all, the guy pushed the button, not knowing if the world was going to explode. Think about that thing.
Yeah,
you hit a button and you don't. And scientists will look you in the eye and they're like, "Well, like the whole world's not going to explode, right?" And scientists go like, "Oh, might."
Exactly.
And that's crazy.
That seems riveting to me.
Okay.
It was.
No. The way I just explained it. When you watch the movie, you're like, Jimmy's explanation was better. Watch the Jimmy Palumbo Show instead of waiting 3 hours.
The Jimmy cut.
Okay, now I got to get to this. Past Lives, I just watched late last night. I really love this movie, man. Again, in the holdovers category. Dave, if you ever watch Past Lives, you probably won't, because it's subtitled and stuff, a little bit of a pain in the ass. But what a wonderful story between these two characters and the time. I don't want to and the childhood sweethearts, and now and I thought the end. No, I'm going to give away the.
Don't.
I don't want to give away the. There's an ending scene that I thought the ending scene, much like Cinema Paradiso, which is the greatest ending of any movie ever. Yeah. Past Lives, there's a scene at the end, and it's done so simple. A camera and 2 actors. It's so heartbreaking, yet I think
makes sense.
Let me tell you why this movie's so great. There's a lot of people out there that have broken hearts, high school sweethearts they didn't marry, college sweethearts they didn't marry. Maybe they're still single. Maybe they got divorced, whatever, in the world. And they go on Facebook and they see their old girlfriend. Was she the one that got away? Facebook creates you used to have to wait 10 years and go to the tiki bar and to see the chick from high school. But now, third funniest thing I've said since the show started. Now you go on Facebook and you can see and you have that angst late at night, your wife and your 3 beautiful kids, and you love your wife. And now all of a sudden you see the chick you took to the prom and what could have been, what should have been, that I'd make the right decision. And, you get in an argument with your wife at 6 p.m. Then at 12:30, you have 4 scotches in you and you're looking online and you see Sally Sue from high school or college, or even your first 3 years in the business world. And you're like, oh my God, she looks so good. My God, look at her husband. He's a jerk off. The kids are, And then all of a sudden you all those emotions that I think the American public goes through, and it's natural.
No, it's real.
Your wife does the same thing. She's looking up.
No, not my wife.
Yeah.
Nope, never.
I know.
Wait,
she's so blessed to have me.
I know she's blessed to have. Although all I know is she always clicks like on all my posts. Anyway, I'm just
not even online. Shut up.
I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding.
Wait, Jimmy, did you date a girl named Sally Sue?
No, it's just an expression. So I just think the movie is really, and also it's not a fast moving movie. There's emotion. I just really, really like this movie. I didn't think I was. The first 10 minutes, I was like, what the hell's going on here? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, wait a minute. We're down by 6. Next thing you know, we're up 25-6. So I was like, this movie really works for me. Korean cinema, it's just, it's real. I'm ready to move to Seoul right now, get a job. But
yeah,
I enjoyed it. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, it's one of the best movies of the year. I think it's one of those. The performances are great. The screenplay is so good, and I actually don't really like to talk about it because I just want people to kind of see it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the ending.
It's a good little
but there's
movie.
not. Yeah. By the way, this ending is for like film buffs. It's not an ending, and then the bomb goes. And then it's not like that. It's a subtle thing where it hits you, and you go like shit. And I'll talk off camera what I mean by this. Now, Poor Things. Okay. I was watching Poor Things and I was kidding around with Pat. Dave, this movie, by the way, if you want to hook up with your wife and the kids are asleep, there's a lot of sex in this movie. And you or your wife may want to talk it over at the 3:15 mark. Say, hey, wait a minute here. But the story is really wild. It really is. If you give it the whole thing, it's wild that a woman's body, a infant brain can be put in a woman's body, and then her own infant is Frankenstein with her daughter's brain, and then the brain grows. And so in the beginning, she's an adult acting like an infant, and then as time goes by, she's an adult acting like a 9-year-old.
This sounds ridiculous.
It is. But Dave, all of a sudden now you forget like puberty and sex and all this stuff, and how a kid would react to sex, or a teenager in this human. Emma Stone, by the way,
she can.
We all know, coming off the bench here at the
she'll need she'll need double coverage at some point.
Yes, no doubt about that. So, and the ending, and I did like, anyway, the movie. Plus, the movie, I would think, if you're with your girl, wife, whatever, and you may be smoking weed, this movie on a big 60-inch screen in your living room, you're going to be like, what the It's definitely worth, but you got to follow it along. Now, Pat read the book. I didn't. I just thought this movie was, I was kidding around with Pat I'm like, my first text to Pat was, holdovers is up 25-3 with, I was like, but I found myself, I'm not saying it's not my kind of movie, but there's definitely a lot going on in this movie. And it's like Willy Wonka meets Frankenstein meets sci-fi meets, I don't know. It's definitely worth a watch. No question about it.
Yeah. I just think for me, I just remember I was telling you, I was like, you got to have Sturgio watch this movie because he's not a big film buff. And I just love like a reaction like Dave.
Where can I find this said film?
I think it's on, was it on Amazon?
You can rent it.
$3.
Yeah, but Dave, it's one of these things. Like what I love is like you would be like, what in the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
And that makes me laugh. That makes me laugh.
But you got to stick with it. Now that we told you a few things about it, you'll be able to follow it a little bit better.
No.
But there
Guess
is
what
a
I'm
little,
doing Friday night.
There's a little. Listen.
Make sure the kids are not around.
No,
they go to bed by 8:30. We're good.
And tell your wife too. Like, listen, there's gratuitous, borderline.
Yeah, NC-17.
Almost pornographic sex.
I'm surprised.
I'm in. Sold. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, Emma Stone really. I mean. I went with Lily Gladstone because of the hype I read, but she really should win Best Actress, really, at the end of the day. Who you picked. Anyway.
But the backdrop, too, also, if you look at, like, it's almost like actors behaving in, like, a painting. It's very creative. It's absolutely, and here's the thing. I'm a little bit of a nerd. I really look for that stuff, and I really enjoy it.
It's very visual.
Like set
colors.
designs.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible.
As a matter of fact, Dave, it's a little bit... You got to like be very open when you're watching it, because I just put it in. I watched it. I got it from the Screen Actors Guild, and I went into like a car wash outside of the car. I got belted. All of a sudden, I stuck with it, and I'm like, okay,
that's such a great comparison. That's very good.
The movie did not miss for me like some of the other ones I talked about.
Does it got a shot at like an actual a good night on the Oscar night, or what?
I just think it's a little too wild to win it.
Yeah, I think I would pick it, Dave, to be completely honest, over a lot. But it feels like if you get into the politics of how the Oscars work, a lot of times, it does. It feels like an Oppenheimer night. I hope not. I hope Poor Things sneaks in and wins. Like Emma Stone, I really hope she wins.
Right.
Like even production design, I have a feeling they're going to go with Barbie. But Poor Things, like I said earlier,
Dave, you'll know
great sets.
As soon as you see it, you're going to be like, "Wow, this is wild." Zone of Interest. Sadly, I did not see this movie, and I know you want to talk about it, but I'm not going to let you. I really don't want to know. I knew it. You already said what it's about. That much I knew.
Yeah.
I really want to see this movie. I just didn't feel like I wanted to rent it. You can only buy it for $20. I'm sure after the Oscars it'll be available for rent. So, but everybody is raving about this movie, and I do want to see it.
Yeah.
It's almost your movie of the year. Am I right? Kind of.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I watched it very late, because, like you said, you had to like buy it for like $30 or something, and I was like, but I wound up getting like my hands on like a screener thing.
Right.
And I was blown away by this movie. The one thing you'll really like about it, it's only about an hour and 35 minutes.
Right.
But what's interesting is it's not for everybody. You have to just kind of put it on, make sure you don't get up and just sit in this experience of just watching a family, like a German commandant, right? He has a wife and kids. And his home, and it's based on an actual man, Rudolf Haas. And the director, Jonathan Glazer, found this guy's house and old pictures and stuff. He had these beautiful gardens. He had a swimming pool. And it's literally on the border of the walls of Auschwitz, one of the most horrific death camps during World War II.
I'm just gonna cut you short because I really want to see this. I don't want to know too much about it.
Yeah, but Jimmy, don't expect too much. So it's one of these films.
I know. Listen,
experience it.
We just talked about past lives, and past lives. I could see people going, "This is so boring. I want to turn it off." But I don't agree with you with watching movies 2 or 3 times. Although I did watch the Dallas Green Bay playoff game 4 times.
Jimmy. That's
not.
That
was what a great cheat. That is a run.
You didn't have to go there.
Yes,
you know what?
In
fact, you know what? For that, welcome everybody to the Pat Vollkommer and Dave Sturchio show.
That was my Ron Artest cheap shot of the moment.
That was such a cheap shot.
Yeah, guys, I set you up right there. But
he forgets I got the controls over here, Pat. He needs the slowest freaking roll over here.
All right, well, Pat, you can stay on. We're just gonna wrap up the show really quick. I'd like to thank our sponsors here: Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Craig and Johnny Michaud, go check them out. They're down in Woodbridge, right by the train station, which I will be there. I might be there on Sunday for their St. Patty's Day. Did you get invited to that?
I did not.
you are invited. She mentioned something. So what are you doing Sunday? Come on down. I'm going to try. I might have something going on.
What's
But
going on?
you would love it.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's a good time. Trust me on that. They do a really nice job at Absolute Eyewear. So go on down and check out her place, even though I don't think it's a public event. It's a private event. But people.
So everybody just runs around, tries on a bunch of glasses and shit.
No, there's food, beer.
You missed another gem at the Woodbridge Brewery, Jimmy, over the weekend.
Who was there?
Daryl Strawberry was in the building. Yeah, so he represented both teams and he was signing autographs and shit. It's like
that's great.
They're getting bigger names over there, man. They're really doing a good job over there. So God bless.
I learned a long time ago from a couple of guys. You know, you want to get Mick Jagger at the Woodbridge Brewery, all you got to do is write a check. I know a guy who used to book Pearl Jam and even the Stones for William Morris, and he would be like, oh, you want Pearl Jam to play in your backyard? Real simple. You write a check, I cash it, and Pearl Jam does a 4-hour show in your back. There's like the bands don't care where they play it. They want to get paid, and they go up. So, listen, Strawberry might have got 10, 20 grand to do that. So God bless him.
I don't know.
Need some money. But go check out Absolute Eyewear down by the train station, down by Woodbridge Brewery from the Omni. Now, I finally gave up pickleball for a little bit. I just got bored with it. And I decided to play again this week, and look out, Palumbo is back. Now, a couple of things. Keep in mind, I lost 10 pounds. So all of a sudden I'm like,
lighter on his feet.
Oh, yeah, a little lighter on his feet, getting involved here.
Little side-to-side motion.
Oh, yeah, a little side-to-side here like a young Ili Nastasi. And so I'm back playing that. So that'll be fun. Also, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Have you been watching it, Dave? Are you a fan of that show?
My wife is. I haven't watched it.
God. No. Oh my God, this show is so awkward and funny. He's so wrong.
What's this guy? Richard Lewis passed away over the weekend.
Yeah, that's shout out to him. He looks horrible on the show. He looks like he's really pale, and I feel.
I think that's the last known video that he just did was like he was saying that he was just wrapping up with Curb.
He was in. They put a thing on the front of it saying in memory of Richard
cool.
Lewis. Yeah, he was great. By the way, some of Richard Lewis's early comedy is really awesome. Sorry about that. R.I.P. Rich Lewis to him and his family. And but it's a funny show. But that's about it. I think we by the way, they canceled the Montreal Comedy Festival. Funny thing is Jimmy Palumbo goes to Montreal and they canceled the biggest comedy festival.
I got a question for you, Jimmy, before we get out of here. Did you hear about all those comedians that got canceled in Seattle?
Yes.
What is that?
Well,
about,
Seattle is,
little progressive.
Well, yeah. I don't know why they hired them, knowing these guys.
Right, exactly. Why do that in the first place if you knew damn well their material? You have to do your research. No,
you know what? It's actually going to be a good thing for Florentine and those guys. They're getting more publicity than they would have if they did a little shitty comedy show in Seattle. So good for them. Florentine's a good guy, even though he didn't decide to do Beer League, which I'll get him on the next one. Bastard. Anyway, all right. Well, I think that'll do it. We covered it all here at Shea. Pat Vollkommer, thanks. I'll be. Are you going? Is Johnny Kelly having a party at the house this year? Or no? Who's having?
I'm actually hosting the party now. I was going to invite your nephew. I don't know. He's young now. I don't know if he wants to hang out with old people. But we're going to. The pool's going to be a lot of money this year. So
is Keith going? Is Keith going?
Keith's not really into movies at all, so he would.
I didn't even know how much he's been all over the place. Obviously, I know him for his cowboy stuff, but he says that he's working at Lionsgate, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
or doing some kind of work for Lionsgate.
Yeah,
also,
he's helping with like screenings and stuff. Yeah,
I forgot to mention. Let me see if I'm doing stand up on this Saturday down in Tom's River with Ryan Maher. Let me just see what get the address of the place if I could.
Some kind of benefit.
Hang on. Yeah, it's do I even have it on here? Did I screw that up? A couple of shout outs again. I would be remiss if I didn't mention where the hell is it? I can't find. Oh wait, hang on. Here it is. Comedy night. Is this it? No, I don't. It's look on my socials. It's posted up there. I'm doing a comedy show in Tom's River at 7:30 on Saturday night with Ryan Maher, a good buddy of mine, is a very funny guy. And Pat, I would be remiss if we didn't mention.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you will as soon as I say.
Here's your show, by the way.
There it is. There it is. It's a fundraiser. It's at a firehouse. The Brick. No, it's at the Brick.
PAL.
PAL Saturday, March 9th. Check it out with hosted by Eddie Gallagher, featuring me and Ryan Marr is the headliner. Good guy, good show. Should be
$30 ticket includes pizza, beverage, and a door prize entry.
And
wow.
Dave Sturchill walking in late here.
Dave is coming in the brick.
Dave looks like Willis Reed in '69, short jumper. Yes,
wheeling and dealing.
And anyway, I would be remiss if I didn't mention. Now, Pat and I have a dear friend. I mentioned him on the show. Our boy Eddie Driscoll, and I just want to be. I know we're running low. Let's take a few seconds. I got from Eddie's brother. Eddie Driscoll passed away in December. We had a big thing at January. Pat hosted. He got very emotional. He was close with Eddie as well.
Yeah.
And I got his a bio from his brother. And I said, you know what? Like Eddie deserves, like I read in the Hollywood Reporter, like these guys who died. It's like he did one episode of like, Bonanza. And I'm like, you know what? Let me try to write something up for Eddie. He worked with the Farrelly brothers. He was on Jersey Boys. He, about as many credits as me, maybe a little bit less, but he also did Broadway, so that's bigger. Also, he was a dominant force in the karaoke world in LA at the Dimples. And I thought if someone there is an LA person, they're going to remember this place, Dimples. Dimples Day was like the first karaoke bar. Karaoke 7 days a week, all day, all night. That's all it is. No bands, no games on. So I put together a little bio, and all of a sudden the Hollywood Reporter picked up on it. And then People Magazine, then Yahoo. I didn't realize they do like an incestual thing. Once somebody posts something, I was getting phone calls, pretty much deadline, people. And I just loved it because even though it was great. I don't mean to take credit. I just think I think Eddie would have just got a kick out of that, man. You know what I mean? And listen, he was one of the most talented guys I've ever met. Truly, him and Artie Lang. Eddie could do it all. And he got his name all over forever. And you said it to me, Jimmy, it's forever. So when 15 years from now, if somebody Googles Eddie Driscoll, you're going to sell all those articles. And I just think that is awesome. And good for Eddie and his family and his friends. And also, when you live in LA for 30 years, you meet people that come and go. You live in LA for a year. Next thing you know, you're back in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They may not even have known. I remember that guy, Eddie. And maybe with the internet, power of the internet and Facebook and stuff. So that was really cool. I know you were close with Eddie. And,
that was a great thing. A great thing you did. And even the SAG Awards just happened. And then when they do an in memoriam for that, like you were saying, Jimmy, they show people that were like on Bonanza. Eddie could have easily slipped in there,
I don't know. I know they're pretty tough with stuff like that. But listen, bottom line is
he did it. Yeah.
Listen, I'm well aware, and if Eddie was sitting next to me, we'd laugh over this. These places need content. So, I'm sure like when Chop Sports Media has their thing and when Pat passes away, you'll get a mention on all Chop Sports.
Oh, he's going to get a plaque. He's going to get a plaque at the very least.
Well, I already have a banner, right? You said
your jersey's hanging up in the common room over here. So.
Next week,
everybody's throwing darts at it.
Exactly.
I will tally up the thing next week. We'll see who wins more. Actually, we're going to be closer. We had so many same picks this year, so you'll probably win because like best sound editing in an animated feature short that got released in Venezuela. You're big on those. I'm not those things. So, all right, listen. Let's wrap up the show. Thanks, Pat, for coming on. Dave,
thanks, guys.
And for one last time, Mr. Cliff Johnson, everybody.
Now, wait a minute, Pat. Do you know about the video I'm talking about?
No, but I know who Cliff Johnson was. Okay. That's why I love that car, man.
Listen to me.
He has no muscles. No muscles
Listen
whatsoever.
to me. Listen to me.
No muscles.
Listen to me. Listen to me. When you're done off the air, you and David do it at the same time. It's 2 minutes long. It's a video. It's on YouTube. Just type in Cliff Johnson and baseball card and watch the video and listen to the words of the video and the images. Now the guy who created this, nothing else he's done is funny. This is a Trent Dilfer thing. It's just it's unbelievable. So check it out. You will laugh your ass off. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to post it on my socials again. All right.
Peace.
I'll see you guys. Pat,
good night, everybody.